Hello everyone, if you're planning to move to Ivory Coast in 2026, then this video could save you thousands of dollars and a major heartbreak. Today we're talking about real job scams, housing scams, and how to protect yourself even before you book that ticket. Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're just seeing my video for the first time, my name is Diamond. I'm a Nigerian living in Ivory Coast. Please do to like and subscribe to this channel, and to my returning subscribers, thank you so much for your continuous support. Scammers love targeting hopeful newcomers. As you're a newcomer in Ivory Coast, you're excited, you're hopeful, searching for opportunities, and that makes you vulnerable. In Ivory Coast, these scams typically shows up as fake job offers with unrealistic salaries, requests for fees before work begins, accommodation listing that doesn't exist, landlord who asks for deposits even before showing you or without showing you accommodation. So we're starting with the job scam or the fake job offers. So here is how to detect a fake job offer. Number one is no proper company email. So if you see an email from a company or a job offer that is from Gmail or Hotmail or Yahoo Mail instead of a company's official email, for example, communication@dangote.com or customercare@dangotegroup.com. This is just an example. This is an example of an official company email. So if you don't get an email that has the company's name on it, if you're getting an email from maybe a Gmail or a Yahoo Mail, all those personal emails, that is one way of detecting a fake job offer. Another way to detect a fake job offer is unrealistic salary without interview. If you're being promised a salary that is double of what you expect or double of what you envisage to earn in that particular position you're earning, if you get an unrealistic high, salary, that is another red flag or a way to show you that this might be a fake job offer. So another way to detect a fake job offer is asking for money upfront. When they're asking you for a money upfront, they're asking you to bring so amounts, before you can get a job. That is a way to detect a fake job offer. Another way to detect a fake job offer is if you're being pressured, or given a deadline, maybe to pay a particular amount of money to get a job. That's another way to detect a fake job offer. So advice on how to look for a job or avoid these fake job offers. The first one is job hunting. Going out there to look for companies, that are hiring, going out there to look for opportunities. The second is checking the official company's website. Another way is making inquiries from friends and colleagues about job openings or opportunities. So let me give you a life experience of how I got scammed or how I was offered a fake job offer when I came to Ivory Coast. When I got to Abidjan as a newcomer, I was looking for job hunting and all that. And then I got in contact with someone who told me, although I got the job I was doing, but I wasn't okay with it. I wasn't okay with the salary and all that. So I got in contact with someone that promised a better offer. He told me about somewhere better, and then I, picked interest. Although with the way he was going, I was suspecting, because all these 4 points I listed about detecting a fake job offers, I sensed some of them, but in as much as I was working, I needed something better. So that was one of the things that was driving me, or that made me to fall for that kind of scam at that time. The first one was he was telling me about the salary, and then when I heard about the amount they were paying, I have ideas about how they pay for that kind of job, about how different company. I have basic, ideas of salary. So, but the salary he was telling me was unrealistic. It was very high. And I suspected, but then I said, let me just give it a try. Who knows? So that's one of the things you should look out for. And I didn't look out for it at that time. So that was what made me fall for that scam. And then another thing he did was requesting for money. He asked me to pay a certain amount of money, and I gave him some amount of money to help secure the job and all that, all those things. Another thing I noticed was the email they sent after he told me I got the job. The email was from a private email, like a Gmail or Yahoo Mail, I've forgotten, but it wasn't from the company's official email. So that was another thing that was another red flag. I saw all those red flags, but then I was kind of desperate at that time to get another job. to change where I was working. So that was one of the things that made me fall for that fake job offers. So I'm saying it out there, I'm putting it out there for someone out there who is maybe looking to come to Ivory Coast or looking for a job. These are some of the things you should look out for so you don't fall victims. So move to housing scams. Accommodation scams are everywhere, especially in big cities like Abidjan. And some of the common tricks they use are listing that are too good to be true. Maybe showing you an apartment, that is too good to be true for the amount they're calling. Maybe you have an idea of how much a one room apartment is going for, or how much a studio apartment or a one bedroom or two bedroom apartment is going for. And they are showing you a kind of magnificent apartment, but the amount they are calling it's not maybe up to the worth of the house. These are some of the ways they can use to get money from you. Maybe trying to tell you to bring the money for the apartment first. That is one of the tricks they can use to get your money. Another trick is photos stolen from other sites. Maybe they can get photos from other apartments that is not what they have. Bringing photos of a different apartment and showing you just to get your money, or maybe you scam or rip you of your money. Another trick is the landlord won't want to meet you in person. He'll be asking you to send money for advance. This is not agents or agency fees now. Maybe he's asking you to send part of the money for rent, before he can agree to see you. That is one of the tricks to this accommodation scam. Now, I also give advice on how to look for accommodation. You can look for accommodation by searching by yourself. Going out there to look for an accommodation, or looking for an agent that will take you to the accommodation, where you see the accommodation itself first before paying the money, and then you make sure you get in contact with the original owner of the house. Not someone saying you should send money before you see him. You see the person, and then in the presence of the person, you make your payment and you collect your receipt. It's very important to be very careful when looking for a house. You don't agree to send money to a self-acclaimed landlord before showing you your apartment. Another way to go is going to house agencies or real estate agencies. This is another registered real estate agencies, because there are also people that use these real estate agencies to scam people. You make sure you confirm the eligibility of these real estate companies or housing companies, before you go through them. And you make sure from them you get in contact with the original owner of the house before you can make any form of payment. So I'll give you some tips on how to protect yourself from these job scams and accommodation scams. The first is checking the company on LinkedIn or their official website. I said this before, it's very, very important. If you're going to look for a job, or you have a company, you see a company you have in mind of working, or you have interest in working in that company, you go to the official website of that company, or maybe you got a job offer from a company. It's very important to check the eligibility of that company by checking it on LinkedIn or from the company's official website. So another tip is never pay a fee or give money before signing a contract. If it's an eligible company, or if it's a true company, they will request for money before giving you the job. You apply, and if you're qualified, they'll invite you for an interview, and if you pass the interview, you get the job. So another tip is use registered real estate agencies. Like I said before, there are other people that are that have these agencies, but they are using it in a fraudulent ways. It's important to also make sure you confirm the eligibility of that real estate agency, and make sure they connect you to the original owner of the house they are taking you to. And the last is make sure you get in contact with the landlord before making any form of payment. And make sure after making your payment, you get your receipt. And this is very, very important. I'm going to do a video on housing in Ivory Coast. And there I also explain more on how to look for houses, the mode of payments, how they make their payments for housing here in Ivory Coast. It's just generally about housing in Ivory Coast. That'll be a video for another day. So another tip I'll give when looking for accommodation is, if you're someone that is still in your country, that you're looking at moving to Ivory Coast to get an apartment or to get a job. Now I'm talking in the case of apartments here. Now if you want to get an apartment, the advice I will give is, if you're not in Ivory Coast, come down to Ivory Coast and take a short stay in an Airbnb or a hotel and you look for accommodation by yourself, it's very, very important because maybe having a contact with someone online, maybe from Facebook or any social media platform, and promising you accommodation, asking you to send so amount of money, maybe part of the money, that is another way to reap you of your money. There are many people that are into that, and there are many people that have fallen a victim of that. So if you're someone that is not here in Ivory Coast, my advice is you come down to Ivory Coast, maybe take a short-term stay first in an Airbnb or in an hotel, and then from there within some weeks or depending on how long you're able to look for an apartment. You look for an apartment, that is very, very important. That is a good step instead of relying on someone promising you an apartment. Maybe you don't know the person and you're not sure of the accommodation. So that is going to save you a lot from falling into the hands of fraudulent or scam accommodations. Moving abroad is exciting, but knowledge is your best defense, which is why I'm making this video to create awareness about job scams and accommodation scams, which is actually going on because I have fallen into a job scam, like I said, and I know people that have fallen into some accommodation, issues like that. So it's very important to take note of some of these key points, which is why I'm putting it out there to be very careful. If you're someone in Ivory Coast or you're someone planning to come to Ivory Coast or move down to Ivory Coast, take this very, very important. It's going to really help you. So guys, we've come to the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Diamond. I'm a Nigerian living in Ivory Coast. Please do also subscribe to this channel if you're just seeing my video for the first time. And also follow me across my social media platforms on Facebook and on TikTok at Life with Diamond Vlogs. Thank you so much for watching. See you on my next video.